The idea behind the 7th Generation Culture Camp was born out of an elders gathering organized by the Waliyanki-Dasulti Mental Wellness Team. Several of the elders had been involved in the Ancestral Footsteps initiative, which used a series of culture camps that provided indigenous youth an opportunity to learn about Wabanaki culture, language, and traditions. Seeing the value in this method and the lasting outcomes, they discussed the possibility of offering this reconnection and learning experience for our youth. A planning committee comprised of community members and partners was formed to make this week-long camp a reality.
And these culture camps are going to be a very important part of what we do together. And it's important to know that why the elders said this was important. And they said they're not going to be here with us for a long, long time. Some of them that were talking to us, they have already passed on. And some of them are also saying that it's going to be time for them to go to the spirit world. And all the knowledge and all the things, the gifts that they have, they said, we want to reach them and share them to you. So you have been selected by your community to come to this camp, the 7th Generation Culture Camp. So what it was is that they did an evaluation of that initiative, and that initiative was called Ancestral Footsteps, Reclaiming Our Ancestral Footsteps, which is a beautiful concept. So they also undertook an evaluation of all those demonstration projects, including Ancestral Footsteps.
Welcome, everyone.
So the Ancestral Footsteps had elders and youth involved, and they really began to create a community. They created an atmosphere of a healthy situation. They addressed a lot of trauma through ceremony, talking circles, a number of different things that even are very similar to restorative justice techniques. Because that restorative justice comes from indigenous people. It's very much in keeping with our practices. So if there was any conflict, it was dealt with in a very healthy way. That was the Ancestral Footsteps. And these mental wellness teams were set up to what they call operationalize the First Nations mental wellness continuum framework, a policy or a framework to address the issues among Indigenous people in mental wellness and addictions, using again the principles of culture as foundation.
We're at these trees here. There's the tree here, you gotta do this tree here, and tree here.
Now we can use our experience actually with the ancestral ones, the ones that were part of it are here. I know a couple of people that were part of the Ancestral Footsteps projects are here, and actually the participants of the Ancestral Footsteps are now leaders over here and are helping out. So that to me is the evaluation that the Ancestral Footsteps should have had, because now that we see actually the results, my terms of success is watching. And what I see now, I know that the Ancestral Footsteps project was a success.
Okay.
When we met with the elders, when we brought the elders together again for the second time, and actually this was a much smaller gathering, because it involved 4 communities instead of the whole 15. So it was a smaller group, but the feelings, and I guess the intent that what the elders wanted was similar to what it was from the initial Ancestral Footsteps camp. They wanted our youth to be somewhat engaged back to their culture, because they were disconnected. There was too much addictions, too much I guess incarceration with our young people. People, suicides is another thing. So they were scared. They had the knowledge, experience, and they knew that their time was getting nearer and nearer, and they wanted to pass down some of this experience to the youth.
You guys' spirit will be here forever. You're part of this land right here. Check it out now. Okay.
Use the drum.
The biggest thing we want to do is awaken the interest in culture in the kids who maybe haven't been that involved. Because just living on a reserve doesn't mean you're involved in ceremony and even in your own culture. Because with all the devices and things kids have now, you can be very isolated on a reserve. You can live completely in the Western world while living on a reserve if all you do is text your friends, look at things online and stuff like that. You can be completely outside your culture. But some kids, they do go to gatherings, they do go to ceremony. And I think it's different youth here had different needs. Some of them just needed a place to come and rest and refresh themselves and to be maybe given a little validation in what they were already doing. And others, maybe they were interested but were a little shy about going to ceremony because they never had, or were a little shy about learning about their culture because they never had, and they feel like kind of like outsiders in their own home. So those are the kinds of people you had here. And I think that because of the way the camp was structured, it seemed loose. It seemed like there was sometimes little chaotic moments, but it was all going towards the same aim. The role of enhancing for those who already are involved and giving a good, solid introduction to those who aren't. And I think that was what the camp was designed to do, and I think that's what it did. You got to meet the person where they are on the red road. Are they on the red road? Are they looking at the red road thinking about it? Or have they been on it for a long time? You know, and you've got to meet them where they are. And that's what this camp did. They met them where they are.
And honest to God, you know, they're amazing. And this, like the elder said, this works. This works. If you pass it down, it will generate into something else. And it has generated into human beings, nice human beings, beautiful people.
Because you have to earn each part of the bundle has to be brought, like even today, yesterday we did the drum. So they learned from that how to make a drum. That's a teaching. So, and how to be with the elders. Sometimes you're very scared, and when you're youth, you don't want to talk, and you know, you feel shy. And I noticed them there yesterday; they're kind of shy, but they listen. And that's important. So I had done these things last 10 or 15 years, maybe 15 years, with youths, and how to get their teepee up, how to get the lodge made, how to get the woods for a sweat lodge. And out of the 40, 45 I had done that time, I think we got about 5 of them that had continued the teachings, become an elder, to carry a pipe, a bundle. And today they're doing what I'm doing today. That's why I like to see them, the youths, continue their ways when they get the same age I am, 70. I'm 70. So it's a great honor for them to sit here and, you know, see them.
Somebody once said there's only 2 states in the universe. There's growth and decay. And as long as you're not growing, you start to decay. And the same thing goes for culture. As long as culture is not evolving, it starts to decay, and it becomes, oh, that's the way things used to be. And that was a lot of what I heard growing up. That's the way things used to be. But those teachings that I got of the way things used to be have held me in good stead, because I've been able to travel forward with them and bring other things into them, see where they work in other areas where maybe they hadn't been used in the past.
I see some of them have good potentials. They're very strong. I also work with them at the schools. I go once or twice a week to teach them their crafts. And when I work with them with the crafts, they're busy work with their hands. So I say something, because they don't like doing sharing circles. So I trick them and I say, okay, we're going to do crafts. Maybe we're making headdresses. And I say something, what happened to what are they happy making? The conversation goes from there, and you would be surprised what they know but won't. So when their hands are busy, you can get them talking. They'll bring everything out.
Out of these camps are going to come the future elders, the future lodge keepers and ceremonial people, pipe carriers of these communities. And that's what I think these camps the future of them is going to be if they continue to evolve.
Is to carry out our ways of our ancestors, what they went through, and what I'm carrying today, and teach them the teachings of to carry the bundle, sacred bundle, and it's going to take time. I mean, it's not going to do over 4 days or 5 days, but it's going to take a period of time that might be 10 years, might be 20 years to earn that keep.
It's using what Elder Albert Marshall has said, the best of Western ways of knowing and doing, and the best of Indigenous ways of knowing and doing. But in our work, it has to start with the Indigenous ways of knowing and doing. It has to be culture as foundation. But we bring in those other ways as well. That's why we have some of the science activities here as well, that Ducks Unlimited is organized and so on.
First and foremost, we were honored to be a part of this experience and to be invited to be a part of this experience, to be welcomed to be a part of the Two-Eyed Seeing and to bring our Western understanding of wetland values and natural values to this experience has been quite a blessing. So we've really been looking to find ways to best support Indigenous conservation. And we want to better understand how to do that. So this has really opened our eyes on one way that we can kind of work together to make sure that the natural world and the wetlands are intact for the next 7 generations. It's been really eye-opening, and I've learned a lot of things. At the opening and the welcoming, I shared a story of kind of some of the experiences that I've had out here on the salt marshes. But the experiences I've had here, I've been here in the mornings cooking breakfast and observing and learning as much as I can. But it's so obvious to me that there's a lot for us to learn from one another, and to bring all of these perspectives and the Two-Eyed Seeing together has so much value. I didn't witness it, but I was told about a small conflict issue that happened between the youth, and to hear that they built their own sharing circle and kind of rectified that solution together and supported one another through the conflict was just an incredible thing for me to hear. I have a teenage daughter, and I just understand the kind of drama that goes on with her and her friends, and how they have needed support to kind of work through some things in the past year, and to hear that to hear that there's these mechanisms out there to help youth kind of work through those things on their own is just really empowering. And so that's one example. This morning, to hear from an elder that the reason that they meet as a circle is so that it empowers everyone to be on the same kind of playing field, and that everybody's of value in the same way. No one person is closer to the center. And to think of all of the different events that we've had where we have the VIPs sitting in the front and then usually kind of some of the field staff at the back. I mean, it was really kind of shed some light on how we might be able to do some things different to kind of be more inclusive of everybody's opinions and bring people together. And the third thing that I find really impressive is that there's so much intention in the way that the elders are working with the youth and the young leaders to prepare their leaders for tomorrow. I see people helping out with hockey leagues and other things at home, but it's not to the same intentional way that you see the development of the leaders here, and that's needed. That's needed out there. The kids and the next generation really needs that direct mentorship and the intention that goes into these types of exercises. So those are just 3 examples of things that I've really taken from this exercise so far.
Today, I was invited here by the organizing committee to come and do medicine walks with the young people who are here at the camp. And so we walked up the trail to just see what we could find. We found some things that we could eat, and we found blueberries, and we found some goldenrod, and then suddenly I saw a whole field of plants that I thought was valerian. And so I walked in and I pulled one up just to see, and when I pulled it up and smelled the root, definitely it was valerian. So it was a real blessing to get that today. And then that way they know what to use. That's what they always say, right? The Creator provides. So we brought it back and I showed them how to, because it's just the root, it's not the whole plant. So I showed them how to cut the roots off and then wash them, and then we're going to finish the process when they get out of the sweat lodge. Show them how to take the little bits of the roots off, and then we can make a tea out of it. Probably snap it off easier.
Thank you.
See? And then you have the root, and then what you'll do is you put it in the water, and then you want to kind of clean it. I'll cut them if you want to clean them. Just kind of get all the dirt off like that. See that?
Okay.
There we go. All right, I'll cut them for you. Here's got a little
So
bit.
how long do you boil?
10, 15 minutes. The 7th generation culture camp is really important for the young people, because it's a time and a place where our knowledge from our elders and knowledge of the land is passed along. With the modern world that we're living in today, we don't get to connect with the land, and the young people aren't on the land as much as they should be to connect with Mother Earth and with themselves as well, and with each other. And so they brought them here on the land, and that's what's exciting, is that they're here on the land learning from the land. I think that they're very keen to learn, and I think they understand the importance of it as well. I think that the more we do it, my understanding is it's going to be, they're attempting to do it all 4 seasons. And so if we do that, then they really get to learn from the land.
So I'm going to show you guys what to do next. I want 2 of you guys, 2 people per side. So 2 of you right here. One's going to lift the tent up, the other one's going to grab that leg and put it on the ground. So come on, like this. Let's just think about it. Once we get this set up, we got rain cover for a little bit. That's all right, man. That's part of learning.
This camp is meant to take the age demographic from 13, 14, and 15-year-olds, the young youth leaders out there. You know, it's to help them understand that they're going to be needed here soon to help those younger ones. We're taking our middle-aged older group that are not going off into the world yet, you know, who aren't, you know, they at a certain age they go off on their own and they have to learn their own things. But right now we still have them close by, so we're trying to give them as many teachings as we can. We want them to return here, either as staff, you know, or as campers again, because there's different teachings every time. We'll have the same teachings the next time we're here, but you always get those little teachings, the little ones, you know, how to respect the elders when you're around them, and how the elders respect you, how they treat you, and how they treat each other. It's special.
From day one, I felt this peaceful feeling here. I felt the kids were having fun, the youth. You know, the first day was a lot of rain and it was chilly because the day before was extremely hot. And so I didn't dress for the weather, and I come here and it was raining and damp and cold, and it rained through the night, and it rained a couple nights, and the kids survived it, the troopers. But the weather started to get better. And, the first thing that happened was the ceremonial aspect, the cultural aspect was a sweat lodge was conducted. And when you're in a sweat lodge, you're in there to purify your spirit, purify your mind, to let go of things that you don't need, that no longer serve you. And so these youth were in there, many for the first time, and even some adults as well. And so it was quite, some people were really touched by that. It's like their spirits opened up. And there's elders here from 4 communities. And each and every elder has a different life experience. They have different teachings. We've had different teachers. Some have been following these ways for a long time, not so long, some not so long. Some do ceremonies, some do not do ceremonies.
The purpose was to ensure that we gave our children the ability to be proud of who they are as individuals, be proud of who they are as Indigenous people, and to be able to give them those ceremonies and the understanding more about what they would walk away from, so that when they go out, when they leave this week, they'll understand what these ceremonies mean, and they can go out, they can embrace those ceremonies and be able to approach an elder and know exactly how to do that. So we want them to continue on because they are our future leaders, and without them we don't have a future. So it's important for us to start teaching them and reinvesting in our future, because they are the next generation to when we're gone.
Yeah. So you're gonna go over 2. So 1, 2.
It's just a beautiful union. And that's the way it is. That's the way it is in our culture, right? You have to guide them for a little while, and then you watch as they progress, right?
This camp is well planned. A board of a nice big committee of elders, staff, and youth mentors have taken the liberty to come together and provide something like this for the kids. And everyone has their own skill that they submit to this whole group and this whole camp. I'd like to see the kids truly having fun in their atmosphere. This is what we want them to do. We want them to be able to let loose and be themselves. And one of the main things is I'd like to see these kids go home with that honor in their hearts, to honor the things that they've learned here, to take those teachings and make them their own, and then return those teachings to the next person that needs that help.
I'd like to see continuations of everything that we begin, because then I want to see bigger camps. I don't want to see jails. I don't want to see courthouses. I don't want to see mental hospitals. I want to see more of these. I want to see elders talking. I want to see elders having fun, teaching, right? And that's what it's all about.
We need more. We need more like this. The same group needs to gather again, because they're going to digest everything that they've learned from now until the next one. They're going to be thinking about everything that they learned here. And they can't absorb it right away, but their spirits have absorbed it. So when they get older, and I reminded them, you know, us as elders, we were sitting there laughing and joking, you know, amongst one another, and I told them, one day you're going to be sitting here. You're going to be the elders, and the young people are going to be sitting on the other side, and, you know, you're going to be in this position. And so I know it just gave them something to think about. I think this is a very, very important concept to have this culture camp, especially to call it the 7th generation, because as Indigenous people, we are told when important decisions are to be made, you're not just to think about this generation, but how your decisions are going to affect the next generation, like your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and so forth. You have to think ahead. For example, in the protection of Mother Earth, we call the Earth our mother. You know, we need to take responsibility to help protect the Earth so that 7 generations from now, they will still be afforded that right. They will still enjoy this beautiful land. And, you know, there's many children that come from many different backgrounds. You don't know who came here with a heavy heart. You don't know who's having struggles at home, within their family. We don't know that, you know. And so we honor all of them. We bring out the light in each and every one of them. They need that. They need that. They need to be told, you are sacred. You are needed here. You have a purpose. So when we were growing up, we didn't have anything like this. We didn't go to culture camps where elders would teach us, where we could learn from different elders, you know. And not one elder has all the teachings. Not one person knows everything. And even we as elders, yes, they learn from us. We have life experience. We have conducted ceremonies. Like I said, I'm 70 years old. I've been doing this since I was 22. So, and I've traveled all throughout Canada, the U.S., what we call Turtle Island. I've been to South America. I've been to Europe. You know, all comes from spirit and ceremony. So I have a lot to share, but I also have a lot to learn. I feel that I will continue to learn until I leave this world. And so coming here, I learned from the young people. We're all young like that at one time.
We are honored that this is a great learning opportunity for a lot of youth. You see, we have for generations, you know, our ancestors weren't allowed to practice their culture. It was frowned upon, and to the point where they felt like it was wrong as well. But they would learn what they learned from their parents' teaching, just their parent teaching and their family members. We have the opportunity now to bring all the youth together and all the elders to give all of their teachings at once, you know, so that these kids aren't just carrying one teaching, drum maker, you know, flute player, pipe carrier. Now we can teach them all of these lessons so that they can put them all together and make them their own teachings. And they can hand them off to the youth of the next generation, those same teachings. But collectively, when these youth who have all of those teachings under their belt become elders, and we have all these elders with all of those special teachings, we're giving all of those teachings to that one youth again. And our teachings are going to grow stronger and stronger, and we'll get our culture back.
I'm definitely bringing back a lot of knowledge, new knowledge that I learned from the elders, just from watching them. You can learn a lot just from being in ceremony with them.
Teaching me stuff I need to learn so I could teach like my next generation stuff that they need to know.
We had a pipe ceremony. That was my first time I ever did that. I felt honored.
I like to learn about the medicines, like what they all mean and like what they do for like healing and stuff like that. And the pipe, it was really interesting about like they were talking about how you have to fast to become a pipe carrier. And that was really cool.